Not a bad Friday. A little GT3 action. Except for every light in the dash is on. Do you know that country song by Trace Atkins, Every Light in the House is on? How about every light on the dash is on? So it's Friday, thank God. It has been an incredibly stressful week, especially at work. It's just been crazy. Just so much stuff happening, and we hired a bunch of new people, and it's just been, I've been wiped out every day since Monday. But it's Friday, thank goodness. And it's the weekend, and I ain't doing nothing. Mainly nothing. Well, one, because it's raining tomorrow. It's gonna be crappy. So most races all got canceled. That was this weekend, at least up in this general area. But actually, tonight, we're taking that thing, and I put together a little meetup cruise tonight. Something I've never done before, but there were some guys that wanted to get out, and it's an absolutely gorgeous day today here. Sun's been out, it's warm, it's still gonna be somewhat warm tonight, and I said, you know what, there's nothing else going on, and instead of me just sitting at home, like, I'm gonna do something. So it seems like there's gonna be a lot of people there tonight, just by kind of gauging off of the Facebook and stuff like that where I posted everything. And we're doing I think it's like an hour, I think it's an hour and 15-minute cruise. And it's like 39 miles, and we go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 towns. So, or 6 cities, I guess you would say, as you would call it. And we're gonna do that. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and something that hasn't been done in a really, really long time. And hopefully that's gonna encourage some people to come out and really, really, really thrive to bring our area back to the car scene that we all grew up to be around. It's been a long time since, we've had a decent group out, just hanging out, bullshitting, just this, that, and the other. And I want to change that this year. So, getting that thing cleaned up and ready. And we're going to go there tonight, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Man, I tell you what, for all the red lights that we're hitting right now and going through, we're all pretty much staying up as a pack. It's pretty wild right now. There's probably 60-something cars behind me right now. From C8s to C6s and Fox bodies and Mustangs, and there's some Audis, and there's all kinds of stuff, like a diverse bunch of cars. This is awesome.
auto. Fucking fun, police!
All right, so it's Saturday. It is very crappy outside today. I don't know if you can see it through the door or not. It's been raining all day, and it's just a shitty day in Ohio. And there's not really a whole lot going on. But I did get something in the mail that I've been waiting on and that I desperately need. So when I originally bought this thing, I ended up switching the headlights out because I made sure to match that my headlights and my fog lights match. And I am very, very particular about my lighting to where like it all matches or like the shade is not different. Any sort. Well, so I'd say last year had one of my bulbs finally fail, and it failed after 5 years. So, I mean, and I do a lot of night driving, obviously, because we're coming home late from races and stuff and so forth. So, instead of me, spending money, I ended up putting my factory lights back in, which are fine. But over time, they're the original HID bulbs that came in this thing in 2014. They're old. So, and I struggled last weekend coming home just because it was so dark and like the lighting. Obviously, having a tinted windshield doesn't help my factor, but I refuse to take that off because I love having a tinted windshield. So I bought me some good new bulbs. So, put these right. So, I picked me up some of these Osrams, made in Germany. They were 6200K. They're pretty nice. They're actually an upgrade from what I had before when I originally put different bulbs in this thing. And these are kind of like the replacements for those. We're going to put these in and see what they look like, and hopefully so I can see a little bit better at night. I just want to do a little color comparison here. So obviously I can't really see very well, but that's kind of the light we got going right now. That's the factory bulbs. They ain't bad, but hopefully we'll see a little bit of a different comparison once I put the other ones in. So of course, being an Audi, you'd expect it, getting to the headlight bulbs is fun. Which it is, because this side's not bad. This side, honestly, as long as I can push the headlight a little bit forward, which unfortunately you cannot take the whole headlight assembly out without taking the bumper off, and nobody wants to do that, and I sure as hell don't want to do that. But it's pretty easy. So basically, like this tab here, there's another tab here, and there's another tab here, tab here. So I gotta take this front cover off first to get to that, to where I can get to these bolts and start taking them off. All right, so I got my headlight slip forward, and that little box right there is what I need to get to, which is nice on these. On this side, it's really easy to get to. That side, different story. All right, so I got this side completely done. One thing I did interesting find was that there's a tab. Once you put the headlight bulb in, it slides into these metal tabs, and then there's this little mechanism that you turn and twist, and it kind of like locks those mechanisms in. Well, for some odd reason, this side, I don't know if it just like came undone over time since the last time I was in here, or I just didn't put the bulb back in properly, but the mechanism, it was not locked. So the bulb was like moving around a lot. So I don't know if that was an issue. I don't know if that was, something that was hindering my problems to where the bulb wasn't properly aligned, but it is fixed now. So next order of business is this whole entire air box has to come out, which is just fun in itself. And then do the same process over again with these bolts. I don't know if I'm going to need an air filter or not. I'm about to find out here in a minute. I don't remember the last time that I did a filter change on this thing, so it should be interesting. I know it's loud with my compressor running right now, but I'm doing a little something that I think is just like, it's important, I guess. So like the inside of this air box, I couldn't get out because there's actually a actuator that opens over a certain RPM on these cars to basically let cool air in. And this box was just like, I mean, filled with so much shit. Just like leaves, rock, dirt, just from, you know, obviously everyday driving. And, you know, my air filter doesn't really look that great. So I'm probably going to order myself a filter. And, but first and foremost, I'm going to get this box cleaned out because obviously all that shit's just laying in there and it's just trying to get into the filter. And obviously that's the whole purpose of a filter. But, like, that just shit's just circulating around in there. So I took a little brush to it. I'm going to take my air gun to it as soon as my air compressor decides to fill up. And I'm going to get all this shit out of here. I mean, there's a lot. All right, got that done. It definitely looks like it's substantially brighter than it previously was. Definitely could tell like there's more light over here, it seems, like on this side. But so far so good. They look good. Definitely look good. So try them out later. All right, welcome back to the channel. So you've seen my cruise that I did. Unfortunately, I just need to learn and continue to learn and make sure that I'm doing this right. Thought my camera was in 360 mode. It wasn't. I'm an idiot. Just plain simple. I'm an idiot. So I wish I could have gotten that because there was a lot of cool stuff. And the reason that I filmed a lot of that was because like we were going through some downtowns and like there's some cool stuff in like these downtowns that we went through, and I was hoping like to flip the camera around, you could see more of that stuff, and I failed miserably. Didn't get really a whole lot of footage off my phone either that should have been recording, and I didn't. And I could have showed you how many cars there actually were, because like the end there when you did see all those cars, they was like only about half that actually came back to the original meet spot, and everybody else just went, you know, their separate ways. So, but the cruise was a success. Everybody was very happy with it. There were some people that wanted to do some highway stuff next time. So I'll incorporate that into something next time that I do. But it's just crazy how different the car scene is now. And half the people had no idea who they even were. Not a clue. But had some of my OG guys there that, you know, I see every year, you know, when we're out and stuff like that. But the rest, man, had no idea. But everybody was super chill. Like, I was not expecting that at all, just because of just, you know, you don't know people, you know, how they act or how they drive, et cetera, et cetera. But everybody did really, really well. And that made me very happy. And there was a lot of people that did comment on that. It was like, man, like, nobody was driving like idiots, you know, like, and that's the way it should be, you know. You're on a cruise, you're driving a cruise, like there's no time to be, you know, be an idiot and, you know, cause people to either crash or almost crash or wreck, you know, so on and so forth. But I had a really good time, and I hope we get some more here in the future. I'm working on some other stuff too. I actually just had a really good conversation with the owner of Superfly, John Dunlap. If you don't know what Superfly is, unless you're local, to me, is pretty much a giant car hangout. It used to happen on Sundays, Sunday evenings actually. It was huge. That was the thing to do on Sundays. Every Sunday, weather permitting, we'd always go to Superfly. Most of the time it was in downtown Akron, and it was nice because like on the holiday weekends we would make those a Mexico nights. So like there'd be some guys that would come down from Cleveland, there'd be some guys coming from Columbus, and that's kind of how the Cleveland versus Columbus versus Canton, started back in the day, and that was always a lot of fun because there was a lot of cars that you don't regularly see. A lot of memories there because we used to run on a specific road that was right by where the meet spot was. It was absolutely perfect. I miss those days. So yeah, I had a really good phone conversation with John Dunlap. It was about a little over an hour long. I was not expecting to be on the phone that long, but we had some good talks about a lot of stuff and a lot of behind the scenes stuff and just little stuff that we don't that you don't quite share out in public. But I told him exactly what I wanted to do. Told him how obviously the crowd at Superfly has definitely changed. There's a lot of guys that don't go to it anymore that used to. And it was just because of various reasons between cost, the crowd, and just little shit like that. And I was like, man, I really want to change that. I want to get people out. I was like, our car scene, it's pretty dormant. It's been pretty dormant. Other than the occasion when I throw a Mexico deal, 1 or 2 times a year when I'm home. And so we had a good phone conversation talking about that. He's actually got an event coming up here May 2nd. And it's actually at the Football Hall of Fame here in Canton. And they've done this before on that campus, like last year, and it was a good time. This year, they are doing spots that's actually on the NFL field, like the field that when they play the first NFL game of the year is always played there. And that's the same stadium for like the McKinley Bulldogs, which is a very big football team. Massillon Tigers, they always play them there. It's a rival game. But the field is right beside the Hall of Fame. And they're actually going to park cars on the field, which is pretty sweet. And like under the rafters and stuff like that. So like that's gonna be badass. So they're gonna be DJing, they're gonna have some food and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be a good time. I talked to him about doing something special for that event. I'm gonna try to see if I can get some people that kind of have a social following to come out to that event, help cover it, and hopefully grow it in sense through everybody's channels. That's my end goal, to where it's gonna want to make people come out and be a part of stuff like that. And so I'm working on that. I'm obviously gonna be there too. I'm actually gonna be driving something really fucking sweet that entire week. Actually, that weekend into the next week, that a friend of mine is letting me use. So pretty excited about that. So like that'll be there. They've already said that I'll be out on the field with it, so that's sweet. Pretty excited about it. But hopefully it leads to something else. We talked about some other stuff. Normally they do a car show deal. Well, he wants to do a kind of a motorsports deal too, to where it combines both. And he asked me if I would be interested in helping him do it, and I said yes, absolutely. I would love to help him do it. So hopefully he'll work out some of the details on that, and we'll get a track secured and get whatever he's dreaming, which I know what he's dreaming, but hopefully it works out. And it'd be like a drag racing car show, DJ, this, that, and the other, everything covered. From roll racing to drag racing, everything all in one. I think it'd be sweet. We used to do roll racing back in the day. When Big 3 Racing used to do track rentals. And obviously we kind of got away from that. So that'd be cool. Something new for this area. That's something that, doesn't really happen, I guess you would say. Unless it used to. But, so we're working on some stuff. We'll see what happens. But, well, I'm going to jump off here and get this done. Get this video up. Like I said, this was not a very long video, thankfully. I wish I could have threw a little bit more into it, but I didn't, unfortunately, and it is what it is. I'm learning as I go. I keep learning. Keep keep on keeping on and do it the right way and not be scared, because then people will be like, oh, he's weird because he's recording stuff. I gotta get away from that, because that's kind of, I'm kind of like in that boat right now. But yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what the plans are for next weekend. There ain't really a whole lot going on, to be honest with you. We got Cincy Street Nights Friday. I don't know if I'm gonna go to that or not, but there's nothing racing going on next weekend either. So, or this coming weekend, I should say. So, but obviously we'll be live Tuesday night on the table, and we'll cover everything from this weekend and talk about what's to come and any other juicy drama that decides to pop up. So, I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll talk to y'all soon.